Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the JACKOCAR Kia series. You're joining me, Gareth Hall, for this one. No Owen this evening, and I did send a message to Kieran to see if he wanted to join in, but my internet's been playing up all day, so not sure if we got it or not. But we will find out. Anyway, if you do hear from me for the next 20 seconds, that's good. If you hear from me the next 2 hours, even better. But, as I said, my internet's been dropping out all day, so we'll find out. Hopefully I'm going to manage to bring you as much of a stream as possible. But good evening to everyone. Hope you're all enjoying it. Welcome to Suzuka and Konnichiwa, Konbawa e JACKOCAR. Pretty sure that is hello, welcome to JACKOCAR. Give or take a few bits of grammatical error, I'm sure. But nevertheless, we have got 13. We had 14 a second ago. I'd like to see a few more of that. Where's everyone gone? But hopefully people will be joining in very, very shortly. We'll be going to qualifying. And for those, of course, are new to JACKOCAR, one shot quali. And that means a one shot. Basically, you get to go out, you do one out lap, one flying lap, and one in lap. So last week, we started off the season in... it was a pretty decent race at the end of it, and it was Matt Lester, first ever win here in JACKOCAR, and taking it at the flag and, deserving it. I think he's definitely one of those drivers that, especially after last season, was deserving of a race victory. And, good to see him advance to the playoffs, the place that everyone wants to be already as we start to kick off this session. And evening to Thomas, evening to Leroy. Leroy's going to be a bit gutted. There's only 14 and Leroy didn't put his hand up and say, I'll drive. Well, Leroy, maybe they really don't want you, do they? But, here we go then. Japan. We've got one of the most iconic circuits in F1. A lot of people's favourite. In fact, a lot of people don't tend to like this circuit, but it does tend to throw up an interesting race. Of course, the only figure of eight circuit in the F1 calendar currently, until they decide to build that new one in Saudi Arabia with around about 42 corners, as Quinn does his usual leaving the session in the loading lobby. But yeah, I think the new Saudi Arabia one's going to be a figure of eight with just an obscene amount of corners because they want to beat the Spa record. Of course they do. So, but it's never going to be the same as Suzuka, is it? Slightly changed, of course, with these new ridiculous cars that grip to the circuit as if you're a plane taking off. It's got that much downforce to it, and it can travel around 130R at pretty much top speed. Well, here we go, and that is exactly what I was about to come on to. It is raining here in Japan. It's something that we tend to see quite frequently, but not in the game, however, as Thomas never joins us, which is good, and hopefully Quinn will be rejoining us very, very shortly as well. So I will hope, as Leroy says, he asked me to join you, but not to race. Oh, Leroy. Just because you're too fast, that's why. You're stat padding in Kia, effectively. Exactly what Yuri's doing. So, welcome everyone that's filtering into the session, that's watching the stream. Make sure you drop a like on it, does help us. And of course, we always want to beat the Cup video. So I always look at the views and go, yeah, I'd like Kia to do better than Cup. So drop a like on the video and make sure you're posting it out on your socials, doing the stuff you do over there. 17 minutes left to go in this. As I said, everyone will get one shot at it. So we will find the first person out will be... who have we got? It's going to be Wasabi. It's going to be Rico, who unfortunately in his debut took pole position. However, didn't go to plan as he crashed out of the race a little bit later on. So Rico will be first now. Then we're going to see Newgard and Matt Rosemond will be out after him at the 14-minute mark. So we're not going to see a car until the 14 and 45-minute mark. So we've got about 2 minutes to catch up. So grab yourself a coffee, grab yourself a drink. How you doing, everyone? It's good to see you. Hopefully you're all enjoying yourselves. Once again, my name's Gareth. I'll be bringing you the commentary tonight. Been let off the reins here in Kia. Mr. Jacko himself has said, you know what, just take it easy, enjoy yourself, go out there, just do your thing. Don't have to worry about being ultra professional like I do when I'm doing my more in real stuff. But I will nevertheless try and bring you as much of an entertaining stream as possible. No Owen, He's decided to elect to spend more time at university than playing video games, which is obviously the wrong thing to do. But we will hopefully get him back for the next round, to which I'm actually just jumping over to the Discord, just because I know the Cup calendar, but I don't really know the Kia calendar off by heart yet. So Singapore next, lol. Enjoy that one, everyone. I know that there's several people on the grid that are looking forward to that, and Mr. Yuri Haselager, who tends to go well at Singapore, will be fixating his eyes on that one. I'll bring up the lap data for you, and I'll bring up the tyres for you. It will be inters for the majority of the field. I'm not sure if it's going to get wetter, not sure if it's going to get drier, and that is where we like to see is Kaya. Where is everyone today? Well, Kaya, same could be said for you. Dropping down to reserve, where have you been? And it's unfortunate, we could have you in the lobby, so jump on the game, in you get. And but it will be in a few seconds time. I'm expecting to see Rico jumping out of his grid, his pit box, and onto this very, very slick Suzuka circuit of 19 turns. 16, where was I getting 16 from? 19 turns. The last turn is actually just that very slight kink before the line. It's actually known as the last curve, which seems slightly ominous. But we have actually seen some pretty big crashes here as Rico makes his way out on circuit in that fluoro green machine, as Moswabi himself will be first one out on circuit to set a timed lap. He'll be followed relatively shortly by Speed Newgarden. Of course, Newgarden, a winner in the Kia Series last season at Monaco. We won't talk about how it happened, but he was a winner nonetheless. But on board with Rico on his outlap, which gives me time to talk you through the corners. Here we go through the S section all the way from turn 3 to turn 7, known as the S's original. We now move on to Dunlop curve. Very easy to get it wrong as Rico kicks the rear end out. Now into the double right-hander, turn 8 and turn 9, the Degners. Degner 1, use the runoff area when you're on the flying lap, and Degner 2, use the runoff area when you're on a flying lap as well. That takes you underneath the circuit, which we'll be approaching a little bit later on, and down to the hairpin at turn 10, and then out on the kink at turn 11, which takes you all the way down to a slightly tricky corner here. This is turn 12. There's not much to it, but in the wet, it actually bottoms out a little bit. You see the track actually just falls away to the left-hand side, so it does unbalance the car if you're pushing, and if you've got a slightly lower downforce setup, which some of these guys might be running to get a little bit more speed, around the exit of Spoon Curve. And now on to the back straight that leads you all the way from turn 14 to turn 15, the well-known iconic 130R. Now it's all going to be about who can keep their foot pinned and who's got the patience and the confidence to keep it as quick as possible around there. Into the Casio Triangle chicane and out the Casio Triangle chicane, where we've seen many an incident. Of course, Senna and Prost, the most famous of all, and starting the lap goes Rico. So what can he do from the first section or the first part of qualifying? Of course, well, he's going to do that. He's going to go straight off at turn 1. He luckily gets away with that one, because you do tend to find yourself getting invalidated if you cross the white line. But on to the S's now. So Rico making his way around, and very much the trailblazer as Yuri's elected to go for medium tyres, and I'm not surprised about that because Yuri famously doesn't know anything about racing. So on to the Dunlop curve for Rico. What can he do into the Degners? It's all about confidence here. He's going to go purple, and that's lucky to stay that, because I'm pretty sure that tyre went outside the white line. White line is pretty much invalidation, so he's getting away with murder here on this lap as Rico's 2 times off the circuit. Maybe not going to be pole position like we saw last time around, but another Dutch contingent to add to the ranks of Yuri, and of course Leroy, who was the champion last season, jumped up to the Cup Series full time. Of course, Cup, the top tier of JACKOCAR. This is Kia, the second tier in JACKOCAR. You can catch Cup on a Thursday evening with Owen and Jack Ricketts in the box for that one, as Rico's making his way now down towards 130R. Be using as much of a toe as possible as you go into 130R, making sure you're keeping effectively all in a straight line. You don't want to be moving around. Some people actually move around on that straight, wanting to find the line, because I don't know. I've seen people trying to find new lines in the wet on this game, but I don't think wet lines really make any difference. So here we go. Rico goes on with a 149.68, and I've actually got. I wrote down here is we've got Newgarden on board. I've got actually some driver profiles, and you may have remembered for the drivers that have been here last season, I asked at the start of the season for drivers to give me their profiles and a little bits about them. I forgot to do it this time around, so I do apologise, but I have got some profiles left over that I just wrote myself. So Speed Newgarden, otherwise known as Matt Rosemond, he's actually a world-renowned expert in the sport of hula hooping. He lives in a house made of Lego bricks, and his dream job is working as a race strategist at Mercedes F1. So what can Newgarden do as he comes up to the line? He's got a 140.9 to beat, and Matt Rosemond goes and does a 40.63 tenths of a second faster. So now over to Mr. Thomas Nevitt. That wasn't meant to happen. There we go, Thomas, there we go, running the same livery template that I do, and mine looks better, but yeah, no. There we go. I do like that one. I think it's a good template. Thomas, what have I got for Thomas? Do you know Thomas invented the word scrumptious? However, he's currently living underground, having been involved in a gang war between rival fans of Tomb Raider games. So unfortunately for Thomas, he's managed to take his PlayStation down there with him, and he'll be competing here. He did say that this is going to be his first lap in anger, so we'll see what he can do. He's going to be about 141 up to the line. It's going to be a 40.941. Beat me by a 600th of a second. Now down to Marco Schneider, and there goes Marco Schneider. How are people getting away with these track extensions? I mean, I know you're not really making up too much time, but why not? Here we go, using a different line. You can see in comparison to the previous car of Thomas Nevitt is very, very slightly following the track limit, the tracks left down by the previous car, and that is a big slide for Marco, and well, either that or it's a lag spike and a half, because into Spoon he goes. And what can Marco do? Running it's almost like that Virgin livery from 2010, somewhere around there, and all years blend into one around that sort of time of Formula One. But what can Marco do from after a bit of a shocking start to the season? He's going to use all the runoff area. 130. There you go, guys. Just extend, take the IndyCar lines, pretty much, as apparently you can get away with it. So Marco out the final corner. What can he do up to the line? And he's going to be slow. It's going to be a 142.674. So maybe not the quickest way around the circuit. Over to Vitinho, Victor Souza. And Vitinho says he's from Brazil, but really he's from Yeovil in southwest England, and he's actually running around at the moment like how we usually see Victor, and that's without a front wing. So as you can see, he's gone for the very low downforce setup today, very quick in a straight line. However, tends to end up in not only in the wall, but through the next stand, and obliterating the ice cream van that's the other side of it. But Victor, what can he do as he's looking to set a competitive time? He's not going to do much out on the grass there, apart from scare a couple of the locals, and into Spoon Curve. And this is more rallycross than it's Formula One at the moment from Vitinho, as he makes his way around Spoon. What can we see? Black livery, black helmet. And is it a black day for the supposedly Brazilian? As I said, he's not from Brazil. It's all a lie. It's all a facade, guys. It's so that he can just pretend like he's walked banned internet. I mean, that was a cut and a half. How are people getting away with this? I mean, there is clearly something wrong with the settings. We've got no track limits set up. So if that's the case, I'd like to see the likes of Yuri, I'd like Splinter, and I'd like to see Matt Shepard all cutting every single corner, because clearly you can get away with it, because Virginia does a 144.783. Now over to Yuri Haslager, and Yuri, what are you doing this low down in qualifying? Had a shocking first race of the season. Did you know Yuri's the oldest of 19 brothers? He's actually a world record holder in cheese snorkeling. Don't ask what that sport is, I have no idea. And this year he actually demanded that his team fit him with 5 tyres on his car, just in case one has a puncture on the last lap. So he's a very demanding man, is Yuri Hasselager, and he comes into the hairpin, and surely he's got his eyes on a victory today, and he's got to be looking to beat that 140.681 that's been set by his speed compatriot. And they'll all be sitting in the speed shop chatting away. I believe Mr. Ricketts is in there himself, and they'll all be discussing strategy about how they can help each other win, and inevitably we'll see someone else win. So, well, prove us wrong, Miss Hasselager, who hopefully will be able to make it away. As they go, it goes purple, but as we always say, ignore that too, and there we go. Start at the back for Yuri. Fantastic. He doesn't get away with it. So apparently you can do it in pretty much, well, everyone else can do it apart from Yuri. So what would it have been? It would have been a 38.6, and he would have taken pole position by 2 seconds. So that's not funny at all. Over to, who's next? Have we got Quinn out on the circuit, or have we got... it's going to be Rageman. It's going to be Robin Burda, the German, out on circuit as well. And he's come to 130R. He decides to take a little bit less grass than Yuri did and gets away with it. He did go purple in Sector 2. Does it count? We'll find out through the Casso Triangle. The man that's running the Vettel-style helmet. Up to the line, it's going to be a high 30. It's a... Oh, I'm always wrong. It's a 40. As it's a 40 flat. However, it does put him on pole position by 0.6 of a second, which takes us down to Danny Quinn. And Quinn, actually the manager of an offshore hedge fund, which is funding 16 Conservative politicians' re-election campaigns. So a dreadful human being. What can Quinn do as he runs up to the line as Red Dragon racing himself? Mr. Quinn, 38.6, puts himself provisional pole position, and Yuri will be kicking himself with that, haven't seen that time go in. So we've got Matt Shepherd and we've got Bazza. Bazza is just starting the lap now. We've got Matt Shepherd out on circuit as well, so running that Scott Dixon style PNC Bank livery, and Matt Shepherd actually introduced the Mandarin to Canada, and however he's seen frequently attempting to fly using his homemade prototype wing setup, almost like pigeon wings, but he's yet to name them, so expect to see that being patented very soon. But what can Matt Shepherd do? Joined commentary with Mr. Ricketts last week for Cup, and you know, he didn't do a bad job. I thought it was all right. And everyone's saying he's a bit quiet. I don't think you don't need to be shouting. No one needs to be listening to Owen screaming his way around as Matt Shepherd goes P2 of 39.268, puts him on the front row of the grid provisionally, which takes us back down to Wales, somewhere no one ever wants to be, unless your name is F1 Bazza 86, and he's running the it's the R26. I think he said this one is. It's not the R25. It's the R26. Well, both of them effectively had a bent launch control system. It's the only reason why Fernando Alonso won anything. He was 7 seconds ahead of everyone by turn 1. But Bazza, he was actually the first Welshman to survive being shot in the head by a crossbow. So yeah, interesting that he's able to compete as well, as fluidly as he does, as he kicks the rear round out going into the Casio Triangle. Up to the line, what can Bazza do? It's going to be about a 40. It's a 40.399, P4 on circuit currently. So now up to the sharper end of the field, as we've got the last few runners out on circuit. First one out is Jess. And Jess, who's had a pretty stellar run in both Cup and Kia over the last 2 seasons, she's actually split the realm of dimensional travel. She's been able to find an extra 73 days in the week and is able to provide commentary for 56,821 different leagues. So congratulations to Jess. She's keeping that secret close to her chest, though, unwilling to share any sort of interdimensional travel with anyone else. There are 17 governments currently after her trying to get it, but what can she do? P8 or 141.593 for Jess. Now, Mr. Ricketts, what have I got for you? Well, Jacko, he's actually fluent in all languages on Earth except for English. He's currently on the waiting list to transfuse his blood with the oil, with car oil, in the attempt to become the first ever human Mercedes C-Class hybrid, and clearly can't take the second Degner very well. So Jacko slides his way in and slides his way out, and pretty much scrubs off a qualifying lap here in Japan. He's going to be starting towards the back end of the field, so you might as well try and well, I don't know, it's a tricky position here, isn't it? Because you do you want to be starting up the front? Do you want to be starting towards the back? Because down into turn one, through the S's, can be, especially on lap one, a bit of a disaster zone. So does Jacko elect to start from the back with Yuri and make their way through? So expecting to see, as we've got out on circuit as well, the last few runners making their laps through. It's going to be Michelle Goris and Jamie Bromley out on circuit, as Leslie unable to join us for this one. So Matt Lester decided, well, I've already made it to the playoffs, don't need to go any further. What can Jacko do? It is a 141.152, so doesn't invalidate, makes it through, well, takes half the field and makes it up into P8. So Michelle Goris, what can Michelle do as he makes his way through the Spoon curve? And Michelle actually was surgically removed from an identical twin. The other twin is currently living in his attic and feeds off scraps that's given to him by Michelle. However, only on the proviso that he actually races for him. So really, it's not Michelle that's actually racing. You tend to find out when Michelle's racing, because it's when he has a bad race. So when we have a good race, it's not him, trust me. Up to the line, what do we see from Michelle? It's pole position. Well, here we go, twin brother. It's not a conspiracy theory. 138.289 smashes pole position currently, and well, takes it on as Splinter unfortunately has bailed out and is not in the qualifying session for this one. So Jamie Bromley, who unfortunately will be starting at the back of the field. And Jamie Bromley, where is it? Got his name from his dad, who was actually the mentor of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you get that reference, you were born in the late 80s and lived through the 90s. So congratulations to everyone. It is Michelle Goris that takes pole position. It is Danny Quinn on second, Matt Shepherd P3, Robin Board at P4, Barry Baldwin P5, Matt Roseman P6, Thomas Nevitt P7. Then we have got Rico Beckenkamp in P8, Jack Ricketts P9, Jess Ball P10, Marco Schneider P11, Victor Souza P12, Yuri Haslager P13, and Jamie Bromley in P14, rounding out the field. So it is, as I look to my notes, as I hope you all enjoy this. Yeah, I'm good. I'm just going to ramble effectively. You're just going to have to deal with it, unfortunately. So yeah, it's 2 seconds. There we go. Had a quick sip. I don't like to announce people that announce they're drinking when they're commentating. It's a bit of an ick for me. It's like I have to have a drink, but otherwise you just do feel like you've just gone silent. It's a little bit awkward. It's like being on a date with someone and just sitting there quietly whilst no one's really got anything to say to each other. Qualifying over, and it is Michelle that takes pole position. See the seamless transition between just complete nonsense and going back into being a professional. Here we go. Time over. We've got 1 minute and 7 seconds left to go. Will we see a retirement for Michelle, which means we can kick it into the next session? And in that time, I can tell you a little bit more about the Suzuka circuit, because I'm sure you're all dying to hear it. So, in fact, it is a 5.8 kilometre circuit. That's 3.608 miles, the 5th longest on the F1 calendar. Longest straight, 900 metres, and that is on the approach to 130R. Top speed, 322 kilometres an hour. That's just shy of 200 miles an hour. Full throttle, 65% of the lap. They won't have been doing that in qualifying due to the wet conditions. The longest period on the throttle is all the way from the exit of Spoon to the Casio Triangle of 16 seconds. It's 42 gear changes over the lap. That's 1,113 over a 50% race distance, and it's actually about a 20-second pit stop around here. It's 413 metres long, and it will be the likes of Michelle, Quinn, Matt Shepherd, Robin Border, Barry that will be going from the top 5 positions, that will be wanting to race their way to the pit lane first. Of course, you've got to complete the first 3 laps before you can make a stop, and then we will start to see the floodgates open with the pit stops. Do we see, of course, one joker this evening, and it's going to be the joker being 1 stop only. So everyone else making 2 mandatory stops, and it's going to be 1 stop only for... Man checks notes very quickly because he didn't write it down. talk amongst yourselves for a second, because I'm sure, hopefully, Mr. OKK or someone else is going to be shouting at me in the comments. So I'm sure one of you will be going at me. But if anyone's got the info, I have got it written down somewhere. So it's slightly bluer skies here. So these guys, I'm sure, will be breathing a sigh of relief about that. Has anyone noticed on this game that if you you look to them, all the marshals that are on the bottom right-hand side of the screen there, could they have not modelled people that are geolocated to their country? Really? Could they have not done that? I feel that's something that, I mean, is it cultural appropriation? I don't think it's cultural appropriation, but I do think that that's a small detail, and I'm all about the small details. As I mean, well, I'm maybe not so much as Yuri. Yuri is all about the small details, but yeah, I mean, maybe they've modelled the wheel going around, but apparently we've got the marshals doing exactly the same motion, just staggered. But nevertheless, on we go. Here we go. Formation lap underway, and it's going to be Michelle leading away. Let's get your tyre choices up. Matt Shepherd and Bazza are the only ones to elect to go for the medium tyres. Yes, a solid choice. Matt Shepherd on the Joker. Matt Shepherd is on the Joker. No one, I think I've just no one has reminded me, thanks very much, but I did just get a brainwave. So Matt Shepherd is the one on the Joker tonight. So he will be doing a one stop only. Everyone else, mandatory 2. They can do their first one at the end of lap 3. So no time before that. It won't count as a mandatory. I've got no one else to count all the mandatories here, so I'm going to have to trust you all. There's 14 of you. I'm sure you can all count up to 2, hopefully. So here we go. Up to, I mean, spread it out. As you can see, Matt Shepherd is going to effectively take his time on these tyres. Look after them, because you don't want to burn out. Do you know, actually, I was reading this the other day. You use more tyre life on the formation lap, no matter what pace you go, than you do on your first flying lap in the race. Logic. Even if you crawl around, you get up to you take a percentage off that is more than what you do on your first flying lap. At least when the lights go green. That doesn't make any sense. Great game. Anyway, PNC, I do like this livery. I do like the blue and orange. You know, I actually painted my bedroom when I was younger, that almost those two exact colours. I'm all about colour, big fan of colour. However, it did make my bedroom look like the inside of a Sainsbury's. So, swings and roundabouts. But green flag. Put that green flag down, man. It's not. We don't want green flag. We're definitely not going under green flag racing just yet. You're not needed. Bazza gets disqualified. That's not what you need for someone that's on medium tyres. That means that you're going to be running into turn 1 with and Matt Shepherd also taking to the grass. That's also not what you need when you're on medium tyres as well. You'll be looking after those like it's a newborn baby. But about to kick this one off. 14 cars, which is slightly disappointing. Where is everyone? And I'm sure I'll get some running commentary in the comments from... I've got Kaya in there. We've got Leroy in there. We've got Thomas Nevitt's been sitting, enjoying it all. And who else? We've got Mickey in there. Good evening to everyone that's watching along. Hope you're all enjoying it. Welcome to the stream. My name's Gareth. You can find me on Twitter at GT2_driving. Yes, this is Kia. This is JACKOCAR's second tier. The main tier, the top tier is on a Thursday evening. You can join us at Thursday at 7 o'clock for that, as Michelle runs along into his box, and so does Thomas Nevitt. And we haven't got a decent... There we go. We want a decent approach down to turn 1 camera angles. Let's get ready for the lights as we go. Ready for lights on, pause. It's a long one, but it's lights out, and here we go as we make our way down towards turn 1. It's a good start from Michelle, but it's a good start from Quinn. Is Quinn going to try and hold the inside line? Surely there's going to be contact between the pair, because Quinn's going to wash out wide, and he does just give Michelle a bit of a tap, who runs off and uses that runoff area, but holds on to P2 and rides the curb as he tries to get back round Quinn. But it's a good start from Quinn. Holds on to P1 at the moment. Matt Shepherd up into P3 on the medium tyres, which is a good start from him. Exactly what he needed to do. Newgarden P4, Bazza P5, Rageman P6, and then we've just seen a change of position. Jacko in the S's getting up past Rico, so good move there from Jacko as race underway, and Quinn holding on to the lead. As you can see here, up to the hairpin for the first time. Down the inside goes Michelle Gores. There's contact between the pair of them. And well, just about got away with that. Telegraphed that from a mile away was Michelle sending that down the inside. There's a bit of a gap forming behind Jess. Jess has dropped down now to 3.8 seconds. So we'll just check in with her, just see if she's missing any wing. Car's a little bit dirty, so she might have taken a trip across the grass, but it might just be that she got caught out behind a few other cars. Where's the gaps? Robin Border, he's sitting behind a car. And we've also got Rage. We've also got change positioners. There goes Yuri on Rico. Big crash. Here we go, and it's going to go straight back into traffic. Luckily, that did not collect anyone, because that could have been an absolute plane crash. As unfortunately there for Bazza, there was nothing he could do about that, as Newgarden and Matt Shepherd have swapped positions. That's a great camera angle, as I can see nothing. There we go, Newgarden now, as he looks to sit behind the pair of them. But yeah, unfortunately for Robin, he effectively just sat too close to Bazza going into 130R, had to slipstream and didn't really get out of the throttle, even though that he was that close behind him, and just turned around. But the pair of them, very, very lucky to get away with that. And Bazza's actually stayed out on circuit, so perhaps no real damage for him. However, there is for Robin, who had a pretty hefty hit into the wall. That might be underbody damage, as Michelle this time thinks better of it when it comes to sending it down the inside. And he's just going to stay with Quinn, as we've got a yellow flag. Oh, Michelle, where are you going? Apparently that makes no difference whatsoever. You can just keep your foot... Well, there's the difference. I was going to say you can keep your throttle pinned, but tyres are supposedly dirty. Michelle's now lost 1.1 second, which will be music to the ears of Danny Quinn, who can break that DRS toe. We're about to start lap 3, and of course it's at the end of the next lap in which the cars can start to come in for a pit stop. Apart from Matt Shepherd, this is his best opportunity for a race victory. Just needs to hope that we don't see too many safety cars, as in fact now Speed Newgarden sitting right behind Michelle. And this is a really good run actually for Matt Rosemond. He tends to do this, and I'm sure he won't hate me too much for saying this, but Matt tends to have really good starts in races and then falls away a little bit as the pace goes away from the tyre, and you get a little bit less grip. So we'll see if Matt can stick with it. As God, that's nice for Jamie Bromley to try and attack, as Jamie goes on the offensive against Marco Schneider, and in fact Marco lets him go. He was lagging around a little bit then. If I was Jamie, I would have been a little bit hesitant about making a move. What's happened here? Because 1.1 seconds has now become 0.4 of a second. So Michelle cruising right up to the back of Quinn. And we've got a spinner. Oh, Jacko. Oh, flat spinning his way, and don't get beached. He's going to hammer the throttle to get into reverse. And he's going to fall right down to the back of the pack here. That's not what you want at all. Now, didn't even bring out a VSC, as we've seen usually. So Jacko now hoping for a safety car. He's gone again on the exit of Dunlop and out of the race. So what and how has that happened? Because he got himself going again. Has that brought out a safety car? Yes, it has. So Rageman, hopefully Jacko's car stays in position. We'll be able to see. So he's lost it on the midpoint of Dunlop. Where is that car? Good question. No one will ever know, but it was somewhere around Dunlop. But what it does do is bring out the safety car. And, well, unfortunately for everyone, this is the lap in which they could have come in and made their first pit stop. So now they're bunched back up again. No pit stops under the safety, or at least no mandatory pit stops. You can make one if you so wish, as we see Vitinho and Rico doing. Equally, Jess is in as well. So getting off the soft rubber. However, this will not count as one of their 2 stops. It has to be made under green flag conditions. Do we see a new nose cone? We do indeed. So new nose for Jess. A set of hard tyres as well. So that's, and new nose for Rico. And I would imagine, given the position of Vitinho, new nose cone for him as well. That's just purely theorising on the fact that Vitinho tends to prefer to run around without any front wing. But Rico out, Jess out, Rage Man back in the game, even with that supposed damage that he may now have after that contact with Bazza on lap 1. So under neutralisation, under the safety car, behind the Mercedes one this time around, which looks better, the Mercedes or the Aston Martin? Let us know in the comments. What do you think? Is it about the livery? Is it the green versus the red? Should the Mercedes be red? Should it not be silver like it was previously? Who knows? But what we do know is that Quinn's leading the race. Michelle Gorris is in second position. Newgarde's in P3. Matt Shepherd will... If I was Matt, I'd be actually relatively pleased about this, because he's currently sitting in P4. Everyone else will be making their stop at the end of the next green lap, I would imagine. Some may run a lap or two extra just to make sure they're not pitting with any potential cars around them that they may be double stacking, because of course the game doesn't tell you who your teammate is, because that would be far too easy to program in. But Matt Shepherd sits there in P4, knowing that he's only got one stop to make, and he can make it in about, 10 laps time. So very, very pretty if you're Matt Shepherd. The Joker really does give you a massive advantage, especially on these new rules as well, is that others can't make that lap 1 pit stop, and now that the safety cars come out on the lap that everyone was going to pit, it's even more an advantage. So no excuses now, as Vitinho is in. What for? Off the softs and on to a set of hard tyres. Is that a set of hard tyres? No. Another set of softs? Or we're serving... Oh, we're not going to serve a penalty. Who knows? Another set of softs. Two sets of softs. Doesn't look like there's a new front wing being replaced. So maybe just wants to start at the back. Apologies. Trying to choke elsewhere. So Quinn leading Michelle, Matt Roseman, Matt Shepherd, Yuri's made a mega start to P5 already. Thomas Nevitt, solid start from him, P6. Jamie Bromley will be happy with P7. But there, if you're Bazza, you'll be disappointed, because Bazza was a decent qualifying session for him. Kind of kept himself out of trouble at the start, and unfortunately just got turned by Robin at 130R by no fault of his own. So I'm probably expecting to see that one go into the stewards at the end of the evening and keep them nice and busy. Surely we'll be going back to green at the end of this one, so we'll be starting lap 6. And as KK says, the Aston Martin is the better safety car. You would say that, wouldn't you, Michael? But I tend to agree, actually. I do. Actually, no, I'll give you this. I actually think the Aston Martin sounds... No, the Mercedes sounds nicer, but I'd rather have the Aston Martin, I think. Or would I? Oh, I don't know. It's hard. It's actually, well, yeah. Here's me debating which supercar I'd prefer to have. But that Mercedes does sound like an absolute beast. But Quinn, here we go. Restart. Does he get it right? Of course, it is the DRS line is the activation, so that you cannot go any time before that. So there's no streaking away now. And it is, of course, a F1 NASCAR hybrid league. So the rules are slightly different if you're new to it. And if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll try to answer them as we go along. But what does Quinn do as he gets ready to kick it off? And he's going to go late, and it's going to be a decent restart. In fact, actually, we're pretty level, apart from Yuri, who's got the jump on Matt Shepherd. He's going to go down the inside of both Matt Shepherd, and surely Matt Roseman is going to let him go. No, he doesn't. Matt fights him. There's no reason for the speed members to be on the same page here. They're more than welcome to fight each other. It's pretty much all versus all in JACKOCAR. There's no teams anymore, but Yuri now up into P3, chasing down Michelle, and he's going to go around, getting on the curb, and all that good work has gone to waste. He's going to have to wait until everyone has filtered past, and unfortunately for Yuri, that has put him to the back of the pack. Marco Schneider gets 3 seconds already. And now back up. We've got a yellow in the second sector. Is that for... Oh, there's a couple of cars dropping down. We've had Thomas Nevitt, and we've had... Well, please don't be Robin again. As we've got... I mean, look at the state of that car. As it is Robin that's got no front wing. Thomas Nevitt is crawling his way. We're under VSC, so we've dropped back down to a neutralised race. And well, didn't quite see that one, so I'll be interested to see afterwards whose fault that was. But that's a second incident that Robin has found himself involved with, as that's the grass, not the tarmac, Robin. But waiting for this to go green again. We'll tune in with our leaders. The gap 0.3 of a second. Now this is where you've got to watch out for everyone else, because when the lead car slows down as into the box, you can make you stop under the VSC. So this is smart from the pair of them. So I imagine we'll see the majority of the field in under the VSC. Now, do we see any double stacks? Oh, that's like a... There we go. So Quinn's in, Michelle's in, and then we've got everyone bar Newgarden, Vitinho, who's already made a stop, but it was under the safety car, so it doesn't count. In fact, he made two of them. Down the main straight is going to come, I believe that's Thomas Nevitt, is going to come out right into the middle of this battle. Where's that going to be? It's going to be just behind them. So Thomas is going to be sitting there in P6. So we are, as there we go, Splinter, drive-through penalty. It's so easy to get it done here, as we are green again, and Michelle is going to tap Quinn. He's lucky to get away with that one, because the cars are so nervous when you just give them a little bit of a prod and a poke. But as you can see, everyone just getting these mediums up to speed. You don't want to break them in too early, as we've got a car that's gone around. I believe that might be Rageman or Marco that's gone around. That's one of the two black cars in 12th and 13th. So the two German drivers at the back of this field. But, well, Michelle still staring at the back end of Quinn's car. Thomas Nevitt sitting now in P6. These guys are effectively net P1 and P2. Thomas Nevitt yet to stop, so he's not net P3. Michelle Goris is very close to Quinn here, and I will try and catch up with others, but of course, whilst we've still got the lead battle, just about. Make sure your return to track isn't... And, well... Is that going to open the door for Jamie? Jamie's going to have to serve a drive-through at some point. Does he serve it first straight away? And because you don't want to risk it, because if a safety car comes out, you can't serve it. So Jamie's going to have to dive into the pit lane, which is a real shame for him, because it's a solid run. He's in a net P3 at the moment, but into the box, there we go, does come Jamie Bromley. That releases Bazza out on the circuit. So Bazza's actually well up there after that initial spin at the start of the race. And... round the outside, Thomas Nevitt is actually going to get up ahead of Michelle Goris. So what happened to Michelle there? Because he's dropped down behind Thomas, and Thomas, who's yet to stop, is going to get a bit of a switch on the middle of the S's, and that's going to put him off kilter for the next few corners. And this has taken all the pressure off of Quinn. Danny is sitting at the front of this one. Is get off that curb there. That you do not want to be anywhere near that curb on the inside, but. If you're Michelle, you need to be clearing Thomas Nevitt as soon as possible. Oh, and that's how you clear him. Unfortunately for Thomas, he ends up in the wall, loses a tyre, and he's out of the race. And that brings us our second safety car on lap 8. And if you're Newgarden, that is worst possible time for that to come out, because he was coming up to 130R. And I'm sure he would have pitted this time around. So he's gonna take the playoff point. Of course, playoff points lap 7 and lap 14 here, so you get a point to add to your playoff tally. And so he will lead that one and take that one, but well, not what he wanted at all. Matt Shepherd on the Joker. What does this do? Maybe not what he wanted, bringing the cars back close together, because he built a little bit of a gap now. Everyone has made their one stop. So whilst he has the advantage of only making one more stop, as into the box does come Vitinho, who makes his third stop under the safety car. He's going for the Jamie Wright strategy of making 417 stops in one race and somehow doing well. But yeah, Matt Shepherd really didn't need this safety car. He'd built the lead of being able to be out whilst everyone had made their stops. However, now they're all behind him again. Quinn, Michelle, Bazza, all sitting there on much fresher tyres, and they'll be wanting to get past him because effectively now they are all relatively on the same strategy. Of course, on the same strategy, if they've all got one stop left to make, however, they've got much cleaner tyres and much fresher tyres, so they're actually, if you're Quinn, you're not feeling too bad about this, which is a real shame, as Leroy says that Yuri is washed. I mean, it's one of the first factual things I've heard Leroy say in a long time. Sitting there in P9, and how I miss being in the speed chat when we've had Jacko and we've had Yuri having completely unnecessary spins. So back under safety car conditions gives us more time to listen. Let's see if we can go on board with Newgarden and just, can we listen in on that Mercedes? It does sound nice. It's one of the probably the nicest sounding car in the game, because the F1 cars sound garbage. There you go. Oh, it's like that Jeremy Clarkson clip, isn't it? It's such a nice sound. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who audio compiled the sounds of the cars for this game, but when the F1 Manager game is managing to get a better game sound, and pretty much every other gaming profile that has an F1 car has better. I mean, it's so whiny, but it's whiny to the point where you're not hearing the turbo whiny, so just don't get it. Don't get how they've modelled it. But Newgarden leads, Matt Shepherd P7, Quinn P3, Michelle Gross P4, Bazza P5, Vitinho P6, Jess having a quiet race in P7, Rico P8, Yuri is desperately in need of going to a car wash in P9, Jamie Bromley P10. Somehow, Robin is able to catch back up again. He's been involved in 2 accidents and a spin, and he's still now back on the pack of everyone. Marco Schneider has joined them as well, as the rear 3 look like they've just been involved in a Japanese rally rather than the Grand Prix. So as you can see, the mud splatter as they've made their way across the gravel and the grass under safety car. Surely it's going to come in at the end of this lap, which will begin at lap 11. You cannot pit as the safety car comes in, so Newgarden will not be able to follow the safety car in for a mandatory stop. He has to do 1 extra lap, so he's going to have to take those tyres to lap 12 before he makes his stop. So not what Matt wanted at all. And the race winner from Monaco. You know, stranger things have happened. We may see him back towards the front at the end of this one, but he will need another safety car, I would imagine, because everyone back up together, and now he has got to make 2 stops and not 1. Everyone else on circuit bar Vitinho. So Vitinho still needs to make his 2. He's managed to make 3, but none of them are legal. So he's in P6, so he's going to be out of the way. So that's going to promote everyone from P7 down, up a position. And equally, Newgarden, he's got effectively 40 seconds in pit stops due to be taken. The first one, I would imagine, will be coming at the end of the next lap. However, does he stick it out? Does he play for playoff points here? Does Matt just hold and try and hold on for lap 14 and take a second playoff point, and aim to perhaps look at getting most laps led? Because at the moment it's looking as though that's going to be the battle between Quinn and Newgarden for most laps led. So Matt Roseman leading a safety car restart. That's not too often you see that. He's going to wait, he's going to wait, he's going to wait. Right, anytime from now, and off he goes. It's a good restart from Matt Roseman. Behind, what do we see filtering? There's a big gap between Jess and Vitinho. She did not get a good restart. Yuri once again decent, and Marco Schneider is into something and out of the race. So on the safety car restart, it's already curtains for Marco. So down to 11 runners in this one, and we've got Matt Shepherd all over the back of Newgarden, and this is going to be the trend here, because surely Matt's tyres, or I say Matt Roseman's or Newgarden's tyres, are going to be shot, and Matt Shepherd really needs to clear him, because he's going to have Michelle Goris, who's actually got past Quinn, sniffing all over his gearbox. So Matt Shepherd is going to have eyes in the back of his head at the moment, because, well, Michelle Goris is very much looking as though he's shaping up a move on the man in second position that is currently your net race leader, if you imagine that everyone else has got to make one more pit stop. So Rageman drops down behind Rageman, so Rageman making up a position on the soft tyres, and we've got a couple of gaps starting to form, and in fact one of the gaps that's actually getting closer is Bazza, who's on the offensive with Quinn now. Not too far in front. Vitinho sits not too far behind. So the gaps are closing up. Matt Shepherd's going to go down the inside of Matt Rosemond. Here we go. Who's brave? And Matt Rosemond hangs it around the outside. Uses the runoff area. You wouldn't have got away with that in the 90s. But Matt Rosemond holds on to position. Does he dive into the pit lane? Yes, he does. So that allows Matt Shepherd to effectively get a little bit clean air in front of him. But I would expect to see, and I do see, that little green button on the steering wheel of Michel Goris lighting up as he burns battery to try and take the lead back from Matt Shepherd. So Matt Shepherd, he can stay out now. If I was him, I would stay out until about... Oh, we've got another yellow flag. Who's in? Is that Newgard? No, it's not. It's Rageman that's had an instance somewhere. We had a yellow in Sector 2 and Sector 3, which is impressive because no one was in either. Michel Goris now all over the back of Matt Shepherd. If I was Matt Shepherd, stay out as long as possible. You really want to make sure you've got the freshest rubber possible at the end of this race, but you want that playoff point. So Michel Goris is going to be coming after him as well. Michel will be hunting down the playoff points, knowing that he desperately needs to recover some decent points this week. Michel, in fact the gap's now half a second. Quinn now a second back, so Danny really isn't having the greatest of restarts after this last safety car restart. Bowser uses a little bit of runoff at Spoon there, so it's going to cost him a little bit of time. May have got him a warning as well. So Michel, who was second out, of course finished second on track, last time out in the opening race of the season, so he is definitely hoping to add to the playoff points that he managed to accumulate by finishing on the podium. One of them that he took, and he will want to take another, but DRS now enabled, so this is going to give these guys the opportunity of having a run on each other as Rico closes up and gets past Vitinho, who's into the box to make his first stop under green conditions, so his first mandatory stop. It's a bit cagey here because Michel seems to have the pace on Matt in the first sector. Matt's definitely got a setup that allows him to utilise a little bit more straight line speed, but here we go on the that was so close, and I was just about to say you can see that the extra speed that Michel Goris has got on Matt Shepherd at this point in the race, and surely, I mean, Michel needs to think about this, and he doesn't need to over push here, because at the moment all he's done is just bring Quinn back into this fight. There was a little bit of blocking from Matt Shepherd, but nothing out of the ordinary. But Michel just needs to wait his turn, wait for the right opportunity. There's no point trying to force a move, especially not round Suzuka. You're better off lining them up down the main straight or getting them into 130R, and this is going to be a bold move to go at the apex, because you're going to have to really rely on both drivers. Matt Shepherd takes to the runoff area, and in fact, is he going to hold the... no, he's not. He's going to relinquish the position. Quinn is going to sit behind, but Matt Shepherd now sits out in second position. Doesn't get a great run out of the final corner, so is he going to be close enough to attack down into turn 1? It doesn't look like it, so Matt Shepherd giving up P1. Jamie Bromley does the fastest lap of the race to 33.908, down in 7th position, is beaten by Robin Border 133.6 immediately afterwards. So Yuri somehow back up into P4. How did that happen? Where did that happen? But he's now back right on the tail of Quinn. So Quinn really not having a great second stint here. Be interesting to see if it's just the medium tyre. Is he... I mean, one of Quinn's downfalls is he does TT and believes that it's anyway similar, as Rico gets 3 seconds in penalties to add to his 3 seconds I believe he had already. So yeah, Quinn relies too much on TT, which you get full soft grip, and you don't get that on medium. So is it the fact that he's just used to the soft tyres a little bit more than he's used to the medium tyres, and that's allowing the likes of Yuri to close up to him, because Yuri now 3/10 behind. Matt Shepherd goes very, very wide at Dunlop at Spoon Corner. So let's see, Yuri, he's looked after his battery, he's got just over 50%. Quinn is going to look at the outside of Matt Shepherd, and Yuri is going to go down the inside. Surely that's not going to work. Quinn, and it does. Oh, I mean, it's not a bad overtake, to be fair. There's a decent double overtake between the pair of them. I thought he was going to go deep, and but I think Matt Shepherd actually saw him coming. But what has happened is Quinn's got DRS from that, and that's not going to allow Yuri to make the move on this lap. He's going to sweep around the outside. He's going to give it a go. Quinn gives him the rub, and he just about holds onto it. Good car control there from Yuri to keep that from going around. But Quinn was more in his right to hold Yuri to the outside there and make it tricky for him. But Yuri, I'm sure, will be a little bit displeased about that. And we'll see what the Dutchman can do in a lap's time. I think he'll probably catch back up to him. Michel is now 2.7 seconds away from these guys, and Michel probably the fastest driver on the grid at the moment. So really should be winning these races. I mean, he's been up there in Cup when he's raced in Cup, and we know that Yuri's washed, even though he's a champion. He's got a yellow for Vitinho, I believe that is, down at the back of the pack. It is, that's lost it on the exit of the final one of the S's. But yeah, so Michel really should be in this possession as well, 2.8 seconds ahead. Matt Shepherd on his Joker is now down to P4, so he's going to have to come in shortly, as is everyone else effectively. So this is really your net race positions for everyone. So a shame for Matt Shepherd, who was actually running really well at the start of the race, but kind of got bundled away as into the box comes the two speed drivers of Michel Goris and Yuri. We've also seen Splinter and Rico in as well, so they've decided the lap 16 is the time to make their stops, as we've got another yellow for Vitinho out there, who is missing a front wing again. Who would have thought? As he's going to get it restarted. That car is, I mean, held together with paper mache when he's driving it. So Vitinho's, well, we've got another car around. Is that Quinn? Please, it is Quinn. Quinn's gone around, and he's had an incident in the first sector. Just as we were watching Vitinho recover, Quinn has gone around, and that could call curtains for his chances of winning this one. And Matt Shepherd 3 seconds is also going to hinder his chances. Is that going to gift wrap the race win to Michel Goris, who has made his stop and is now only 14 seconds behind Quinn? Luckily, it looks as though Quinn's got away without any front wing damage. We'll just double check, as he's now behind Bazza and Matt Shepherd. So Quinn now 2.2 seconds behind Bazza. But that gap now on fresh mediums is very much coming down. So if you're Quinn, you're going to be probably... Well, he's got away with no wing damage there, so it looks as though he probably just hit an inside curve, bottomed the car out and turned it around. So he's got away with it in an aspect there. Can easily get it wrong. We've seen people hit the curb and hit the wall, and equally double punctures back in the Cup Series last season. We saw 4 punctures on the last 2 laps. And, well, into the box comes Quinn. Does he get it slowed down? Yes, he does. So he's into the box. Bowser stays out. He's decided to hold on to it. Matt Shepherd on his Joker is staying out as long as possible as well. So Michel Goris, what can he do? He's going to surely take it from Quinn. Quinn is only just making his way out of the box now, and it's going to feel like an eternity as he trundles down the exit of the pit lane. Splinter's going to go past, and Quinn comes out down in 6th position, with Rico not far behind. So Splinter now on the back of Yuri in 4th position, so battling over 4th place. Yuri, who's already had a spin in the S section, adding to the likes of Jacko, adding to Quinn, adding to Marco, adding to who else? Vitinho. There's been plenty of them. Robin Borders had one as well. So the first sector catching several drivers out so far this evening, as using a lot of runoff area there is Yuri. And that's going to just let Jamie just stay on the back of him, stay half a second behind, which means he will get DRS at the end of the end of the lap if he can stay there, as Yuri gets a little bit of snap of oversteer on the exit. But Jamie Bromley very much still in this one, still in the back on the back of Yuri. Lap 17 of 27. This is Yuri going wide. It's also the Kia Series Championship as part of JACKOCAR, the second tier in JACKOCAR. Make sure you tune in on Thursday for the Cup Series, the top tier, where you'll see the likes of Jamie Wright, Ben Shaw, Gareth Hall, Kieran Spears, Connor Byers. Who else we got? We've got plenty more. We've got Jake O'Sullivan. We've got Pete Knighton, we've got Jess Ball. Oh, there's so many others. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Michael Okeke. There's names I'm just going to throw out there. Leroy Hasselager. And it's the fastest lap for Jamie, who's on the push. Yuri's going very defensive. Jamie's not having any of it. He's just going to use the DRS and use a little bit of straight line speed to close back up. And they're trading fastest laps at the moment as the fuel starts to come down. Oh, there we go. There's Jamie just riding that curb a little bit there, and just unsettles the car. It's all about the setup here. You either raise the car and you deal with the bumps a little bit better, or you lower it, you make it quicker. So clearly these guys have got the cars a little bit lower, and it is unsettling these cars as it hits the bumps. So Matt Shepherd still leads. Bazza in P2. Michelle now P3, 12.5 seconds behind. So he's easy a net P1 at the moment. Will quite easily clear Matt Shepherd. Matt Shepherd, however, will have very, very nice tyres at the end of this, when he makes his next, or his only stop, really, because he's on his Joker. Mandatory two stop for everyone, bar the Joker, which you can elect to have one race in the season, except for the final race of the season. And this one, it's only one, and it goes to our current race leader, but it does mean he's going to drop 20 seconds on everyone else, which will kind of put him around about Quinn's position, I'd imagine. So he stays out another lap. So is Matt Shepherd trying to get his name up there on the list of drivers that have led the most amount of laps? We'll find out. It's going to be relatively close. I think it's quite close, as Yuri actually does himself a service there and does the fastest lap of the race. Jamie Bromley, even with DRS, can't keep with him. And or I say can't match it with another purple lap. But these two are the closest on the circuit. And then we've got Matt Rosemond. Let's check in with Matt and Jess, because we haven't seen too much from these guys. Matt, unfortunately, as I said, had a really, really solid run, but now down in 10th position at the start of the race. So we've got a yellow, and it is a Vitinho. Now, is that going to be a safety car? If that's a safety car, Matt Shepherd is not going to get his stop in. That is such a shame. That's such a shame for Matt Shepherd. Race leader, safety car out, neutralises the race. It means that Bazza and Matt Shepherd will not get their stops in until at least lap 22. And by then, you're going to have to hope for another safety car, and if another safety car comes back out, everyone else will dive back into the pit lane for a set of softs. So do we see anyone else jumping into the pit lane this time around for a set of soft tyres? I would expect to see perhaps the likes of Quinn really anyone from Yuri down in for a set of softs. Potentially we might see quite a few drivers in. Let's find out. Does Matt Shepherd actually go in for a set of softs just to... No, he does. He holds on to track position. Bazza does as well. So, smart decision from the pair of them. There's no point in them coming in. Michelle stays out. Yuri stays out. Splinter comes in. There we go. So, he is the first of the front runners to jump in for a set of soft tyres. I'm sure Quinn will do the same. He's thinking about it, and he thinks better of it. Rico stays out. Rageman is going to stay out as well. So... Splinter's going to give up track position, however, he is going to have favourable tyres. What does Jess do? Into the box, go on, risk it, risk it, risk it. There we go, Newgarden's going to go for it. You might as well. If you're at the back, you've got nothing to lose. As Newgarden into the box, Matt Shepherd leads away. So we're under our third, I believe, safety car. I'm sure, I think that's our third safety car. We have a VSC as well, so... As sorry, just check it. Oh, just going to go back through the comments because I was looking up on another screen. But Jacko, severe underfloor body damage from Rico hitting him on lap 2 of the hairpin. Car was undrivable. Yeah, I know how that feels. Yeah, I had that in Spain a few seasons ago, and yes, very much so. Complete waste of time, effectively, once you've got severe underbody damage or especially rear diffuser damage. Who would have thought that rear diffuser is literally the most important component on the car? More important than having 4 tyres that are working. But lap 20 of 27, we've got our third safety car. Matt Shepherd now the leader, and I think this might help Matt Shepherd in soften the blow in laps led, and we're gonna need to go to JACKOCAR of who's led the most amount of laps, and I'm sure Mr. OKK will be able to help out with that. I think he's watching along. Shout out if you are, Michael. But yeah, this might help Matt Shepherd with at least taking 1 playoff point for the most laps led, which might soften the blow about the fact that come the end of the safety car, he's going to have to jump into the pits and make his only pit stop. And whilst I said he had the massive advantage with the safety car coming out at the early stage of the race, the fact that he's not made his stop and he's still going to make his stop now means that he is going to be comfortably plumb last and need a safety car to come out almost immediately, maybe the lap afterwards, and hope we get a 2 or 3 lap national flag. Unfortunately, that's the hard math for Matt Shepherd. So Mazza in P2, he equally would be pretty gutted with that because he's had a really good race as Bazza, so he'll be frustrated with that, and he's done well to get himself up into what is currently P2, but of course yet to make that stop that is going to help him. So he's going to need to make that second mandatory. Michelle, Yuri and Quinn is now your de facto top 3. So I mean, somehow there's been slander and sarcasm the entire race, and somehow Yuri's in P2. I mean, he's spun, he's been driving across the grass, he's been collecting stones from the gravel pit, and he's somehow still in P2. Quinn's had his own incident, he's in P3. Rico's having a solid run, P4 for him, but he's sitting on a time penalty. Jamie Bromley. Now, it's interesting to see the Rageman and Jess both decided to come in for a set of softs, and they thought on the first lap not to do it, but then jumped in the second time around. So interesting that Jess decided to give up that track position, but she must have seen that, of course, the likes of Splinter and Newgarden had elected for those softs, and they will get to the end. You're under safety car for at least the next lap, or it might come in at this one, but you're at least this lap. So if you're Matt Shepherd, you want it to come in this lap. If you're everyone on the softs, you want it to stay out for as long as possible so you can kind of take care of these tyres. So, predictions, please, guys. Let us know in the comments. It's good to see you all chatting around, but good to see you all enjoying it. Hopefully you dropped a like on the video. Do help us out. Does help us. Trust me. I like to shill for YouTube. I'll sell my soul for this league, and well, as you probably saw in the Cup Series build-up, I sold much else for my dignity. But safety car in this lap. Here we go. Matt Shepherd's going to lead it away. The man that's probably led the most amount of laps. You'd think a good commentator would have kept on tabs with that, but he's going to have to wait for that orange barrier on the right-hand side. Sorry. Any time from now. Waiting. Behind, this is where it's going to be the party. Oh, Michelle's going to go slowly, and he's going to lose out here, surely, because Yuri's going to get down the inside of him. Up in front, Bazza is going to make the move on Matt Shepherd. No, he's not. He backs out of it at the last minute. Do we see chaos into the first corner? No, everyone behaving themselves very nicely indeed, as Rico just misses the back end of Quinn there. But Yuri looks as though he had the jump on Michelle, but Michelle, he probably had a good run and then just got off the throttle at the last minute, not wanting to pick up a relinquished position penalty, as Michelle now swarming the back end of Bazza, and the pair of them Yuri, that was a very, very nice move indeed to try and get around Michelle Goris, and so Yuri really catches Michelle sleeping there. So Yuri very much on the charge, and now your race leader. So the man that lost the championship with about 6 corners left to go at the end of last season is now the net race leader. So it's two Dutchmen leading the way, Quinn in P3 and Rico P4. So what do we see from Yuri here? Is he going to go on the offensive with... Oh, he has to get out the throttle behind Bazza. Now, is it worth a move here? I would suggest against it. Yeah, there we go, off the battery. He was using it a little bit. I don't think Bazza's going to be defending, because I'm going to expect to see both Matt Shepherd and Bazza diving into the pit lane at the end of this lap. So it's going to free up Yuri to make his run. Bazza skips the chicane, but there you go. First two into the box to make the mandatory stops. The second for Bazza and the first one, and Bazza compounds his misery with a 5-second time penalty as well. But that does relinquish the position to Yuri. So Yuri now up into P1. Michelle and Quinn are swapping positions over P2. So Quinn burning battery. He's now got up into P2. Michelle's not giving up any time or space. They're side by side. Oh, that's a lovely move there from Michelle to get back up the inside. As Jamie Bromley, is that going to yeah, it was contact between the pair of them. I think that was just a case of Jamie getting caught out by Rico, having to slow up for Quinn getting back on circuit. So that's tough luck for Jamie Bromley there, who was making the moves, but unfortunately for him, it looks as though they were just caught out by Quinn returning to track after being knocked a little bit for 6 by Michelle Goris. So Rageman now up into P4 on soft tyres. So watch out for Rageman. He's got no penalties to his name. He's now attacking Quinn. So what does he have to say? Save your battery, Robin. You want to be looking after it. Use it where you can make the overtakes. And he's going to be right on the back of Quinn here. Now, does he go for a move? He's going to have... Yeah, can get this one done way before 130R if he uses the battery. And there we go. Robin Border, P3 for the German. It's a fantastic recovery drive for him. May expect to see a post-race penalty, however, for Rageman after an incident he was involved with. And he was gutted, actually, that he lost a podium last week, I believe it was. DRS now activated. Michelle Goris now back within striking distance of Yuri. They've both done 8 laps on their medium, so this is really just a war of pace. Rageman 2 seconds behind them, Quinn half a second back off of that. Rico P5, Newgarden up to P6, Jess in P7, Splinter now down in P8 with a bit of a gap after that spin after contact with himself and Newgarden, as Quinn gets past by Newgarden, and that sounded like someone hitting a wall, but can't see anyone. But yeah, Quinn now dropping 2 positions, so perhaps another incident there for Quinn. He's dropped down from P4 to P6 in just a few corners, so maybe getting on the curb once again for him. So back up to the front. We're getting to the sharp end, so I'm going to be talking. Unfortunately, you're all going to have to listen to me. Hopefully you're not too bored, but well, it's been a pretty solid race so far, and it's going to hopefully be an exciting end for you all. So lap 24 or lap 27, here we go. Michelle Goris, Yuri Hasselager taking the Yuri line around Spoon Curb, and does he get away with it as he gets once again another snap of oversteer on the exit. But Michelle burning battery, you want to look after it. There's going to be 3 laps to go after this one, and it's going to be Michelle Goris chasing down Yuri. Is he going to wait for maybe a last lap lunge on his fellow Dutchman as they go in, and it's the 2 speed drivers fighting their way over this race win. Of course, a win takes you automatically into the playoffs. Michelle Goris, a fantastic run out of that final corner, and he's going to go to the outside. They're going to go side by side into turn 1. Who's going to get the move done? Sweeping around the outside goes Michelle, but Yuri's going to hug the inside. Who holds on to it? It's Michelle Goris. It is going to hold the outside line and takes back the lead of the race. Fantastic racing between the pair of them. Really well done the 2 boys there. However, what this has done is bring Rageman right into this fight. 0.6 of a second he sits behind the pair of them. And well, if you're Rageman, unfortunately Rico is into... It looks as though he's had an incident in the middle of the S's just before Dunlop. So that's Bazza has hit him going through, or was Bazza his own incident? No, so Bazza's had, I believe, his own incident. So Rico's got a yellow, and that Rico brought out the yellow. Bazza's had his own incident, and that brings his race to an unfortunate end after it was looking so promising. Yellow flags are out, but I don't believe we've got time to go back under safety car. It would have had to have come out on lap 24. So we're going to go green to the end of this one. Michel Goris, Yuri Haselager and Robin Burda are your 1, 2 and 3. It's going to be, or the pair of 2 and 3 are going to be in Slipstream and DRS of Michel leading this one away. So what do we see from Yuri? Does he save up ready for the last lap? We're about to start the penultimate one. Michel is out of battery. Yuri has got 40% left to go. Robin just looks as though he may be struggling on these tyres. They are starting to use up their life as he's going to get towards that sort of 6-7 lap mark at the end of the race. So does he have any more tyre life to throw at these guys? And does he have any battery? Doesn't have any battery to use on the advantage of Yuri's 40%. So this is going to all be on driver pace. Behind Jess is now she's just been passed, I believe, by Splinter. So Splinter now up into P6, recovering some positions. He's going to try and close up on Quinn, and Quinn's race unfortunately has fallen apart down in P5. He'll be pretty gutted with that one after getting a really good run at the start of this one, holding the lead for a while, but now down into P5. So it looks as though it's going to be Michel, Yuri and Rageman, your 3 that will battle it out over the last lap of the race here, the Kia Series, as part of JACKOCAR. Make sure you tune in on Thursday for the Cup Series, the top tier of JACKOCAR with Owen and Jacko in the box. Go to @JACKOCAR on Twitter to find out more. And, of course, all the standings will be over on the Twitter page. Yuri now sitting right behind Michel. He's got battery left to burn. Michel has got absolutely nothing now. They're going to fight over DRS here. Squeezes Yuri to the outside. Oh, Michel gets a 3-second time penalty doing exactly that. He squeezed Yuri, turned in a little bit too early. So Yuri is not only going to get DRS, he's got a penalty coming the way of Michel. And he's got the move done up into the lead of this one on the last lap of the race. And Yuri looks as though he's going to take this one. Splinter takes the fastest lap of the race, which means he will be getting a point for that one as well. But it is Yuri from Michel. Rageman in P3. He's got no battery left as Splinter now gets past Quinn as they battle it out over position. So Quinn now dropping down to P6. He's used all his battery as well. So unfortunately for Quinn, there's nothing left for him there. But back up at the front in this battle, there's just seemingly Robin's just not quite fast enough to catch these two at the front, but Yuri is really going to enjoy that one. A last lap lead overtake. Michel is gonna he's only going to drop a position to Rageman in P2. However, we may see a penalty for Rageman. We'll have to find out in the stewards post-race, so make sure you tune in over on Twitter, where I'm sure you'll find any of the details that come out later on in the week about any penalties out. Of course, all about the standings. But, well, 3 more corners left to go if you're Yuri Haselager. And let's go on board with the Dutchman as he goes up through 130R for the final time here in Suzuka. And he is going to punch his ticket straight to the playoffs here in the Cup Series and make it another way into the playoffs. And that, I think that's going to be 5 seasons straight into the playoffs for Yuri. He is your winner in JACKOCAR at Suzuka. Down into P2 goes down up into P2 goes Rageman. Michel Goris in P3. Newgarden recovers to P4. He'll be happy with that. Splinter just missed out on jumping up into P4. A really solid recovery there for Jamie Bromley. What would have been if he had got if he hadn't been spun in that last stages there, I believe he probably would have got himself involved in the lead battle. So Jamie will be kicking himself. Quinn equally just didn't have the pace late on in that one. Perhaps there's some damage issues with the car. We'll have to find out. He did fall away. Jess, P7, Matt Shepherd. Oh, what could have been Matt Shepherd, as he unfortunately the Joker just did not work out for him. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And today very much did not go in the favour of Matthew Shepherd. Rico is going to come across the line. He's going to take P9, so he's going to take a handful of points, and that's going to be more points than he took last week, and he will be your last finisher in this one. But well, that was a pretty decent race at the end of that one. I'm sure Leroy's cheering for Michel, so he'll be gutted that Yuri, who actually went from the last row of the grid to the win to this one, but doesn't count as much because it wasn't a full grid. But nevertheless, well done Yuri. great race from yourself, and a couple of good saves after the spin as well. So a good race from the one-time champion here in Kia. Kia yet to be won by anyone from the British Isles. Will it be won this time by anyone other than a Dutchman? We've had an Estonian and 3 Dutchmen so far. So, well, will the streak be broken? If you're Yuri, I'm sure he'll be hoping not. He'll be wanting to go back to the Championship 5 as he's sitting here at the top of Victory Road with another win in the Kia Series. 13th to the win. 48 minutes, 19 seconds, 1.4 seconds advantage over Rageman. Michelle Gorish dropping down with that 3-second time penalty picked up on the penultimate lap, but it is Yuri from Robin, from Michelle 1, 2 and 3, Matt Roseman in P4, Jamie Bromley P5, Danny Quinn P6, Jess Ball P7, Matt Shepherd P8, and you've got Rico in P9. And unfortunately we lost Bazza, Barry Baldwin, Victor Souza, Marco Schneider, Thomas Nevitt and Jack Ricketts early on with damage, all hitting different parts of different walls and ending their race early. So thus ends the second race of the season. Second round for these guys. They'll be heading to the streets of Singapore and Marina Bay next Tuesday for that one. And Singapore, well, let's hope I've got Owen alongside me, because it is a slightly longer one, especially if it rains. It does tend to rain in Singapore a little bit, but let's hope that one is a good one, because we've seen that Yuri tends to like it at Singapore. So does he do the double and take the victory next week as well? So thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you tune in, as I said, on Thursday for the Cup Series, where the guys will be taking their talents to the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And well, as I said, make sure you go to @JACKOCAR on Twitter, where you can find out all about the league, and of course all the standings will be posted over there. And you can find it @JACKOCAR on Twitter, or @JACKOCAR2, that's the number 2 for the Kia Series in total. So once again, my name has been Gareth Wall. I've been bringing you the Kia Series. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. It's been a bit of an interesting one tonight. Enjoyed that one. Hopefully you all did too. But I'll see you next Tuesday at the Singapore Grand Prix as part of Kia. Tune in on Thursday and we'll see you then.